Hey guys, and welcome back to NBA Knowledge. Today we're going to be taking a look at 6 NBA trades that we need in 2021. Before we begin, I want you to hit that red subscribe button and click the bell icon so you never miss another one of our videos. Let's get right into it. So which NBA stars will be on the move ahead of the trade deadline? With the NBA trade deadline approaching, the rumour cycle is about to pick up in a major way. James Harden was the first big star to move this season as the Rockets traded the superstar to the Nets in a multi-team blockbuster. Bradley Beal's name has been thrown around, but the Wizards star reportedly wants to remain in Washington and has not indicated a preference to be traded. So which stars will be on the move? Let's explore some deals that should happen. At number 6, JJ Redick to Boston for a lottery-protected first-round pick. Is a first-round pick too much to give up for a 36-year-old two-guard who has struggled with his shot? Maybe, but Boston badly needs experienced bench help, and Redick comes with 110 postseason games on his resume. The Celtics are a natural trading partner. Boston has a $28.5 million trade exception, enabling them to absorb Redick's $13 million salary without shipping a contract back. And with Pelicans VP of Basketball Operations David Griffin hoarding first-round picks, the Celtic can offer another, and do it comfortably in the fact that it will likely land in the mid-20s. Redick's shooting woes have been bizarre, but he has started to come around recently, and a change of scenery to a contender could kickstart him. It's a calculated risk for Boston, which shouldn't rely on an inexperienced second unit in the playoffs. At number 5, Bradley Beal to the Nuggets for Gary Harris, PJ Dozier, RJ Hampton, and a ton of first-round picks. I know the Wizards don't want to trade Beal, yet, and I know Beal hasn't asked out, yet. I know the Wizards should demand Michael Porter Jr. and nothing less, but if Beal finally decides it's time to leave DC, the Nuggets should go all in. They control all of their first-round picks, so they could make a Brooklyn-esque type of offer, 4 firsts and 4 first-round swaps. Would that be enough to satisfy the rebuilding Wizards? Perhaps. Of course, they would prefer a blue chipper like MPJ, but how many teams have one they're willing to trade? How many Beal suitors could or would top the Nuggets' potential draft package? The above trade satisfies CBA requirements, but there are plenty of other configurations that don't involve Porter. For the Nuggets, Beal is absolutely worth the investment. He's an elite shooter, a skilled playmaker, and a savvy ball handler, who could slot in nicely between Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, giving the Nuggets one of the most potent scoring trios in the NBA. They'd have the firepower to take on the Lakers and Clippers right now. If Porter develops into a star soon, all the better. At number 4, Celtics send their unprotected first-round pick in 2021 to the Mavericks for Tim Hardaway Jr. Boston absorbs Hardaway Jr.'s expiring $18.9 million contract into the $28.5 million trade exception they created in last offseason's sign-and-trade with Gordon Hayward. Hardaway Jr. was the 3rd leading scorer on the best defense in NBA history last season, but with Dallas currently 19-4 and far from guaranteed to even make playoffs, it makes sense for them to grab a draft pick, the trade chip they need, and prepare for a significant summer. They're last to spend big money on free agents before Luka Doncic gets his max extension. Despite making 39.1% of 8 3-point attempts per game this season, Hardaway Jr. was moved to the bench last week. The Celtics could use that outside shooting to space the floor for Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kemba Walker. It's an ideal role for THJ, a skilled defensive weapon who should embrace the chance to up his value in Boston before he hits the open market. At number 3, Raptors ship Kyle Lowry to the Clippers. Lowry could potentially be on the move before the March 25th trade deadline, and a number of contenders could certainly use the services of the 2019 champion. But one team in particular stands out as the most intriguing Lowry destination. The Clippers currently sit number 3 in the Western Conference, and despite an MVP-level campaign from Kawhi Leonard, their lack of quality point guard play stands as a real impediment to their championship aspirations. Is finding a sufficient return for Toronto difficult? Sure, but injecting Lowry into a potential Battle of Los Angeles would be downright thrilling. If the Clippers could pull off such a deal, they could be considered the favourites in the Western Conference. At number 2, the Bulls trade Zach LaVine to the Pelicans for Lonzo Ball and 2 first-round picks. I'm going to focus on 2 players I've seen trade rumours about who I believe might make sense being swapped for one another: Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine. Sending Ball to Chicago along with salary, JJ Redick or Josh Hart and another small piece, in addition to a couple of first-round picks and maybe even more draft compensation, would give Ball another fresh start and the Bulls a chance to evaluate him with their youth and draft selections to add to it. Meanwhile, LaVine would provide the Pelicans with some scoring and shooting punch that they really need, and would give them a complement to Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram as a top 3. If I'm Chicago, I don't think I'd actually deal LaVine, but that would at least be a reasonable return, and given the question was a trade I'd want to see, well, LaVine alongside Zion and Ingram certainly qualifies. And lastly, the Bucks acquire PJ Tucker for DJ Wilson, Torrey Craig, and future second-round picks. With James Harden now on the Brooklyn Nets, PJ Tucker has long been speculated as the next Rockets player to be on the move. Tucker is set to be a free agent this offseason, and there have been multiple reports in recent weeks of rival teams reaching out to Houston about his availability. While his numbers this season are slightly diminished from years past, Tucker is averaging just 4.7 points and 4.6 rebounds on 33% shooting from 3, the undersized power forward still has the ability to impact a top-tier team. The Bucks currently sit at just 16-8 and appear to be very much in battle with the 76ers, Nets, and Celtics for the top seed in the conference. Milwaukee's starting lineup has played just 25% of the team's minutes, 20th most in the league, but has been effective when deployed. Nevertheless, adding a player of Tucker's pedigree, especially for the cost of Wilson, Craig, who is eligible to be dealt after February 20th, and some future seconds would only help a Bucks team looking to win its first championship since 1971. And that's all we have time for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time.